So you might think it'd be pretty easy to make a Spider-Man movie spin-off without Spider-Man. As it turns out, Sony might be finding that more troublesome than we're all believing they are. Okay guys, so let's talk about some brand new stuff I've heard just talking to people and talking to one of my sources who I've talked to previously about Spider-Man. And this guy has dropped me off quite a few hints, and I found quite a few of them to be very valid, and many of you know, if you've been here with the channel for a while, that I dropped quite a few scoops that have been confirmed as real for Spider-Man. So this time what we're talking about is Venom. So remember, always take what I'm talking about here, as generally with any rumor or speculation, as a grain of salt, but remember, a lot of times it can end up being true. So what he told me is very interesting. He said recently that Sony desperately wants to have their own Spider-Man universe work without Spider-Man. And the reason they chose Venom was because he's a surefire thing, at least in their minds. But they didn't expect as much of a blowback coming at them from not including Spider-Man. And that's what most of the conversation has shifted to for the Venom movie. People being confused as to why isn't Spider-Man involved, and they didn't see this as something that was going to happen. So what I was told, and I quote, is Sony is scrambling to attempt to add Spider-Man to Venom. Okay, so what exactly does that mean? Well, they've probably done audience tests now for the movie already, which would make sense, at least early ones. And there's probably been a good amount of feedback. And we know, according to some reports, that there is going to be a little bit more of a reshoot that's happening in August, apparently, to get it done for the October release. And according to this guy, is that Sony right now is scrambling, trying to figure out if they can add Spider-Man into this movie. And from what else he told me is that they're trying to do it as a sort of end of the movie type of thing. Essentially, they don't have to redo the entire movie at all. They're not going to do that. What they're going to do is add something at the end that shows you, oh, there is a Spider-Man that exists in this universe. Whether that's Spider-Man showing up himself, or some sort of allusion to, oh yeah, Spidey's out there and this Venom symbiote might have at some point been involved with him. And what I was told directly by somebody else, and these two guys do not know each other, is the fact that Sony's looking at this as a Split situation. The movie Split with James McAvoy, where at the end of the movie, it takes about 15 seconds, the camera pans around, we see Bruce Willis, then we learn that the movie is actually a sequel to Unbreakable, and now they're all going to be in Glass, which is a shared universe. What I'm hearing is that that's what they're trying to do. So that's interesting, right? Because there certainly has been a lot of blowback on Venom. And look online. I always say the online community is the vocal minority. But going to just casual comments and look at articles talking about it, even other people that aren't necessarily talking about it are going, so wait, this doesn't have anything to do with Spider-Man? Even they're confused because it's Venom, it's a Spider-Man character. So you can see why this is probably real and why Sony probably is scrambling to try to get Venom some way, shape, and form connected to something Spider-Man. What that's going to be, I don't know. But desperation is probably at an all-time high right now. And I don't think the MCU is going to let them connect it to the MCU. So you're kind of out of luck there. So what do you do?